I used to work as an international business lawyer on the Champs-Élysées in Paris, and I've grown up spending my summers in my grandparents' chateau in the south of France. And my grandmother, who was from haute bourgeoisie, taught me handbag etiquette. So in this video, I'm going to share with you the handbag mistakes that cost you the most and what to do instead if you want to present yourself elegantly. The first mistake is to match your bag with your shoes. It's a piece of advice that has been given a lot, but from a fashion and elegance perspective, it is a bit outdated. It will never be a fashion faux pas to match your bag with your shoes, but what it does is that it makes your outfit look a little bit flat and a little bit uninteresting. And elegance is very much about the ability to make your outfit interesting. The way that you should think about this is that your shoes and your bag and your belt, if you have one, should be of the same undertone. If you have red shoes, you will successfully pair them with a bag that has a red undertone. If you have yellow shoes, you'll easily pair them with a bag that has a yellow undertone. Playing with those colors is what is going to make your outfit interesting, and that's one of the secrets of elegant women. The main mistake that you could make would be to pair two leathers that have a completely different color, for example a camel and a black. The second handbag mistake is to pair the wrong bag with the wrong outfit, and the way you're going to know is that an outfit tells a story. Your outfit tells a story through its shape, through its colors, through its materials, and through its details. And the bag tells a story as well, based on its shape, on its colors, on its materials, and on its details. And these different stories have to make sense together. A mistake that I see a lot on social media is to pair a mini Kelly with a cocktail dress. Although a mini Kelly is an expensive bag and it does convey class, its story doesn't match the story of a cocktail dress. A mini Kelly, because of its shape, is very classic, it's very traditional. It has more a city work kind of environment. The materials are very classic leathers, which are not necessarily materials you want to bring to a cocktail. At cocktails, you're very much encouraged to have pieces that are a bit more night kind of pieces, that have a bit more party in them. A mini Kelly, when it has a cellier kind of stitching, even more has this connotation of very city, very classic, very equestrian, which doesn't match the story of an elegant cocktail dress. The third mistake is the wrong bag for the circumstance. If you were to bring a small bag like this one to a cocktail, you would be making that etiquette mistake. Cocktail, black tie, always a clutch. Now for a casual evening, however, this would be the perfect bag. It's still small enough that it doesn't say work, or it doesn't look like you need to carry a lot of things, you need to carry a lot of your life, so you're at dinner and you're really free. Now for work, a classic top handle bag like this one or a tote like this one is the perfect bag. For work, you are expected to carry documents, to carry your laptop, and to carry your notepad, so a lot of important things. Avoid laptop bags or backpacks because these do not convey femininity. They're usually in polyester, they have those big pockets with the Velcro. These are, in their design and the choice of materials, completely opposite to what is considered elegant. A beautiful work bag is definitely a piece that I invite you to invest in if you don't have one already, because it's one of the first things that people see when you enter together with your coat, and that's a piece of clothing that conveys a lot of information about you. And then during any normal day when you're hanging out with friends, going shopping, or running some errands, these bags are the perfect kind of bag. They are classic enough that they convey elegance, but they are also relaxed in their shape and in their design. You can also carry a small bag like this one and a cotton tote. The fourth elegant handbag mistake is to have a messy handbag inside. This is obviously bad for the upkeep of your bag and its longevity, but it's also terrible if you open it in front of other people and they can see that past the impeccable appearance that you have, you are actually messy. It's something that breaks the whole charm of you being elegant. So it's really important that you make sure that your bag only has what needs to be there for the day. The way that I make sure of it is removing what doesn't belong just before I walk out the door. If you have a tote and things get messy inside, you can buy a bag organizer, which is going to help you keep things sorted. The fifth mistake is to wear your bag in the crook of your arm when you carry it. And I know it might sound surprising because you'd see royalty and a lot of elegant women do that, but they're actually not really carrying it in the crook of their arm. It's one of those things that have been interpreted incorrectly. What those women actually do is that they carry their bags on their forearm, because that's the way that a bag is elegantly carried without any effort. The problem with the crook of the arm is that it puts the logo very much at the front and it looks like you want to show your bag to everyone. On top of it, the expression that you have when you have to carry your bag like this is not a way of portraying yourself elegantly, because it looks very effortful, as opposed to having it on your forearm and still being able to move elegantly and slowly. And it's even worse when it's with a bag that is not made to be carried this way, because then it really looks like you're trying to copy some rule to be elegant that you learned of Instagram. There is only one type of bag that allows that kind of carrying, and it's the small top handle ones, because these, when you put them on your forearm, are not going to make it look like it's effortful. It's going to look very natural, and yourself, you're not going to feel it. The way that my grandmother carries such a bag is that she's going to have it in her hand by default when she's walking around and doing whatever she needs to do. If she needs to stand or talk or greet somebody, she's going to put it on the forearm so that her hands are free and she can wait and talk easily. If when she talks, the bag goes all the way to the crook of the arm, it's not dramatic, but she's not displaying it from the crook of her arm, and that's really the main difference. In that case, she would bring it back to her forearm or just hold it in her hand. The sixth handbag mistake is to have charms or scarves or any kind of anything dangling from your bag. It's trendy, but it's not classy. It conveys a very juvenile energy because it's usually young women who like to have little pendants and little charms hanging from their phones or their bags. And it's also very important for an elegant woman to not be trendy, because if you are trendy, it means that you are following fashion and you dress the same as everybody else, so you don't have your own personal style. And an elegant woman definitely wants to be part of the leaders. She wants to have her personal style, and she doesn't want to convey in any way that she would be a follower of fashion. Scarves are a bit more delicate and a bit more elegant as an accessory on a handbag, but because now the whole Birkin, Hermes vibe is very much associated with influencer and trendy, an elegant woman is going to move away from that because she doesn't want to be perceived as a follower of fashion. In the mind of an elegant woman, a bag is supposed to be used. It's a beautiful piece that is solid, that is going to patinate, and that is going to age with you. So it's not a piece that you need to protect with those little scarves that people put around the handles. I am yet to see an elegant woman who actually wears the bag with the handles protected by a scarf. As a rule of thumb, in any prestigious or particularly elegant environment, I would recommend to not have any kind of accessory on your handbag and just let your beautiful handbag do the talking. The seventh mistake is in the same vein, and that is to keep the protective film on your handbag. It is not something that I knew people did. I learned that off the internet, and it's definitely inelegant because it shows that you're just keeping your bag to resell it, or that you're so afraid of damaging this very expensive bag that you could barely afford, or that you've been dreaming about your whole life. An elegant woman is very casual about the beautiful things that she has. She takes very good care of them, but she knows that their purpose is for them to age and to age with her. So although they're going to be careful with their bags and they're going to upkeep them and have them repaired when they need, etc., they are not going to protect the bag excessively. Metals also patinate beautifully, especially brass. So if you have a beautiful bag with beautiful hardware, it's going to look even better with a bit of patina. And that only comes when it is in contact with the oils from your body, when it scratches a little bit, when it oxidates. That's only going to make your bag more beautiful and look more valuable. Eighth mistake is storing your bags hanging. Even when your bags are made to be carried by a strap, if you store them hanging, they are going to age much faster because you're going to have much more pressure on the joints. I have made a lesson inside the Elegance Makeover on how to store your clothes so that they last and age beautifully, and I'm going to cue to this video the part on handbags. Now, moving on to bags and shoes, the way you store them is also extremely important, and I have seen, sadly, too often clients having beautiful shoes, beautiful expensive bags, but shoving them all together in a closet and actually damaging the pieces forever. It does take space, but it's really important, especially if you invest in a beautiful piece, that you take care of it and that you plan for the space of having it, at least in my opinion. The way to store your bags is vertically. The last thing that we want is to have all of our bags something like that, because it's going to apply pressure, it's going to damage the shape, and it's going to mark. So we really want our bags to have as little pressure as possible. And that applies for both the bags and the straps. This bag is a good example of something that could mark very easily. If I put it like this on its own strap, it would start marking the leather here. So what I do is that I really pick a position for it where it's its natural position, it's how I got it, and I place it like this in such a way that there is as little pressure or tension whatsoever on the bag. Especially if you wear your bags occasionally, they're going to keep this position for quite a while, and it does mark the leather when the leather stays in the same position for a long time. If you have really precious bags or bags that have a very supple leather, what you can do is to fluff your bag inside, so for example with its own dust bag, to make sure that it keeps its shape. Even I've seen for Birkins, you can actually buy the pillow that is shaped to keep the Birkin in its original shape. Mistake number 9 is to call your bag an investment. We've seen a lot online that a Birkin appreciates more than the S&P 500, that if you keep your Birkin intact and you sell it again, you can make a profit, etc., etc. Although that can be true for the Birkin and the Kelly specifically, and for certain types of Birkins and Kellys, it is mostly wrong for all handbags. Yes, you can resell your handbag and you can make more money if it's a good bag than if it's a bad bag. You could sell a good bag for 90% of the value that you bought it for, but to which you would have to deduct the 30% commission of the reseller. That's just a well-managed loss, but it's not, you didn't make actual money on your investment. The other catch is that this whole strategy relies on the brand increasing their prices. For the bag to continue being an investment, it would require that the prices steadily go up. On average, they do for real estate or paper assets, but the increase that we've seen recently are not guaranteed to continue, and definitely not at the same pace considering how the luxury market is doing currently. And finally, if you want to make most of your investment, you have to not wear the bag, because that's how you're going to sell it for the most money. So you have to keep your protective film on, you have to keep the box, the dust bag and all the things, and you have to not have one scratch. But if you do so and you worry so much about damaging your bag, you can't wear it elegantly, because the elegant way of wearing a bag is very casual, is very flowy, is very easy, and it definitely doesn't align with keeping your protective films on. Unless you're investing in a certain type of Birkin, a certain type of Kelly, and a certain type of classic flap. Calling a designer bag an investment is just a way to justify the purchase to yourself. Instead of worrying about the investment, what an elegant lady would do would be to buy an expensive bag that she loves, that is perfect for her, and to wear it with pride and love and caring for it, but not worrying about reselling it, and definitely not seeing it as an investment. A bag is supposed to be used, it's supposed to patinate, it's supposed to age, and that's how it's going to be the most elegant and the most beautiful. The 10th mistake is a collection of small little mistakes and small little etiquette mistakes that most people don't know about. You shouldn't open your bag when you're in the middle of a conversation. That's considered impolite because it shows that your mind and your attention is somewhere else. So if you need to open your bag, you have to wait for the conversation to be over, or you have to step aside. You shouldn't walk walk around with your bag opened, and it has been very popularized with the Hermes and the Kellys all over Instagram that are difficult to close, but that's not a flex. In the elegant world, a bag is closed, or if it's a tote, the things are all neatly put together in an organizer or in little pochettes, little clutches. When it comes to the etiquette of where to put your bag, there are differences between France and UK, US, and other cultures. In all cases, it's inappropriate to put your bag on the table, be it a restaurant table or even at work. So not on your desk, and definitely not on the desk at a meeting with other people. The bag is never ever on the table. Even at school, I remember in law school, the people who had their bags on the table were asked to put them down. Now the difference lies in where to put it depending on the cultures. In France, it is totally acceptable to put your bag on the floor. Women, even at a fancy lunch, will put their work bag on the floor as they're eating, just next to them. In the US and in the UK, it's inappropriate to put your bag on the floor because the floor is considered dirty, so you should avoid doing that. When you're in Paris, have fun, put your bag on the floor if you want, you will be still considered elegant. Now the best alternatives differ. In France, because you can easily put your bag on the floor, you'll do that by default, especially if it's a work bag and then it belongs on the floor and it even has the little legs so it can be on the floor. If you have a smaller bag or a clutch, you can choose to have your bag on your lap or in your back. The condition to have it in your back is that it's small enough so that you don't sit awkwardly and it doesn't look like your bag is taking too much space on your chair. This bag, for example, would be too big to put it in my back and it looking it effortless and elegant. If it doesn't work on your lap or if it doesn't work in your back, then you can have it on the side of your chair if you're in a rather casual environment, making sure though that it's not completely at the back in the way for the waiters or making it easy to steal. In France, it's considered very rude to put your bag on an empty chair. Chairs are for people, not for bags, and they can be used if people are lacking chairs. So you'll definitely be considered inelegant and rude if you put your handbag on an empty chair. In the US and in the UK, however, putting your bag on a chair is the preferred option because you can't put it on the floor. And alternatively, if you have a smaller bag, you can also have it on your lap, in your back, and on the side of your chair, which is also not the ideal option because it's not the most elegant and it makes your bag easier to steal. You shouldn't groom from your bag at the table. That's considered very rude. It's something that is private. It's something that you should do in the bathroom. In elegant environments, people will definitely be surprised if you just pop out your lipstick from your bag and start putting it on with your mirror. You're expected to go to the bathroom. And the last thing that you shouldn't do is to hand your bag to someone to hold, because a bag is a personal thing, and if you need help, you should definitely ask very nicely and elegantly if that person could help you by holding your bag for a second. But definitely not, can you hold this please? I hope this was useful. If you'd like to get my 10 elegant outfits formulas, I invite you to download them for free through the link in the description, and I'll see you very happily in the next one. À bientôt!